Welcome to the Lounge Lizards podcast. It's so good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo. Tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Pooba, Senator, Grinder, and Bam Bam. And our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some tequila, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 84th official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke a Cuban cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. We smoke a brand new Habanos regular production release. We talk LGC and its shared history with Partagás. And we do a deep dive on our tequila pairing, all among a variety of other things for the next hour. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair Tequila Ocho Anejo with the Gloria Cubana Turquinos. A Robusto Extra tonight on the pod from La Gloria Cubana. The factory name is a Gordito. It's called the Turquinos. It's a brand new release, the first LGC that we've done on the pod. And I think probably the youngest release that we've done so far in all these episodes.
It's a beautiful cigar.
Yeah.
Honestly, the wrapper is pristine.
So normally, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
You know, normally we wouldn't reach for something this young, but I've had a lot of folks have been talking about this cigar.
What year is this?
It's for November 2022. So it's very fresh.
What's the factory code?
Partagás factory.
Partagás factory.
Nice.
There we go.
UBL. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, let's cut this thing, boys. See, we're going on the cold draw. But yeah, this is really a brand new release. But what I love about it is its accessibility for, you know, us, for the listener, if we like it. This is a $20 cigar, which in the Habanos catalog these days,
You know,
is very rare.
the cold draw, it's quite nice. I'm getting honey and a little cream.
Mm.
A little bit.
Tastes like a little bit like a D4 type of cold draw for me.
Not for
I
me.
Not
didn't
for
get
me.
that at all.
No,
I
not for
get
me.
what exactly what
Bam.
Bam said,
Yeah.
which is kind of honey.
Yeah, it's sweet.
I hope it smokes like this.
Or as Dan would say, Dan
Dan's
would say honeysuckle.
Is this
Dan,
the
we
first...
love you, but a honeysuckle note is a Dan note.
I thought we did another LGC.
We did not.
Hmm.
We've
Okay.
smoked it together. We've smoked the LGC 4 together and the 2s,
Spectacular.
but we've never recorded.
Incredible. Both incredible cigars.
Yeah, they're so hard to get. All right, boys, let's light this thing.
All right.
The La Gloria Cubana
The cold draw is so sweet.
It's awesome.
is.
Let's see what happens. It'll probably
Turquinos
be
it's
the
called.
exact opposite of what's going on.
This is true.
Again, it's a Gordito, 50 ring gauge by 5.5 inches,
And if I may ask, what did you pay for these?
$20 a stick.
Sorry, what
Nice.
was it? 51?
50
50.
ring gauge by 5.5.
At $20, it's a bargain. Let's see.
Yeah, hopefully it smokes that way. So I've seen a lot of great things online about this.
You know, one thing I'm noticing as I'm lighting this, the wrapper is delicate. So if your flame kind of goes off the side, you'll burn a good amount of it.
Mm,
You know,
very nice on the light.
Yeah.
the
Very
smoke,
nice.
The smoke smells delicious.
Flavor bomb.
Yeah. This is more in line with what I'd expect from an LGC
Dude, are you guys kidding me?
than the
This
cold
is
draw.
really
This
good.
is very good.
This is awesome.
$20 cigar just released from Habanos. I'll
See-
celebrate that. We don't celebrate much Habanos on
Well,
this
wait. We're
program.
just starting out.
20
Hopefully
bucks.
it continues, but this is beautiful.
Let's, if it holds up in the last third, time I'll tell.
Mm-hmm.
The smoke output is high.
Yeah.
What kind of notes you guys get?
I'm getting amplified. I'm getting some graham cracker and more cream and a little bit of honey. Just amplified for me.
I'm getting like this. I'm actually kind of getting very traditional Cuban, you know, not necessarily the twang, but like very Cuban mainline production notes.
Which are?
Well, I get some cream.
Yeah.
I definitely get. I
Mhm.
think there's some spice actually. Are you getting spice?
And the finish.
I'm not getting spice.
On the- on the-
I,
on the
I get
retro
three
hell.
distinct notes to start. For me, cream that Bam mentioned,
Mhm.
nuts, and a little cedar. That's what's jumping out at me to
I
start.
feel like I'm getting something that's a little doughy. Maybe like a sourdough or something.
Yeah. I like that. That makes sense actually.
And it does have a touch of floral.
Mhm.
Especially through the retrohale.
Yeah, that's an LGC DNA, right?
Yep.
Floral, fruity, earthy.
It kind of tastes like an aged cigar, kind of right now.
Let's see what happens, guys. Let's
Yeah.
not get over our skis.
I mean, I will say though, what's encouraging,
It's
it
true.
doesn't smoke like you'd expect a really young cigar
No,
in the first third.
that's right.
Yeah.
It's got a refinement about it, which is nice.
Big
Totally,
time.
but
I mean-
like but let's see, because there have been so many bigger ring gauge cigars that, and I would call out the Hoyo Double Corona as one
Mm.
where where we've smoked that cigar, and it starts out like so amazing, but
Yeah.
then but a younger one, at the towards the last third just it shows its youth. So let's see if this thing is like acts like an adolescent
Mm-hmm.
down the stretch.
It's a good analogy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, so far so good. I love the aroma that's coming out of the cigar.
Yeah.
Oh, the
absolutely.
smoke at the
It's
line.
previewing great. I mean, it's
Yeah.
previewing great.
Yeah. The aroma at the line, delicious.
So the construction on these things, when I was looking at them, I was like, man, this is a brand new cigar, only $20. I looked at all the feet of the cigars, and none of them were overpacked. The construction looked really, really good.
They were open.
I was very, very happy with it.
Draw is fantastic.
Yeah, because when you feel like when you in your hand, it's like medium.
It's he's right, medium. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not
it's not
like,
light.
It's
It's
not
not
light
not
like
heavy. Yeah,
it's not
no.
light like a Upman 2 is lightly packed, which I like about it, which is a virtue in that cigar. But
Or an
it
E2.
is- but it's medium. So let's see how it performs. I'm bullish right now.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
So La Gloria Cubana, unfortunately, despite its very, very long history, only has 3 regular production cigars right now,
Unbelievable.
which is a tragedy given some of the brilliant cigars that have come out of this marca.
Yeah.
First, of course, is the MDO. How do you pronounce that, Rooster? Medalla d'Or?
Oh my goodness.
How do you pronounce that?
I love it.
I just say MDO4.
I'm sorry. I love this.
It's a metal Dior.
It's not Metal Dior.
Medalla.
Medalla d'Or, number 4.
It's not like you've been to Cuba twice or anything.
I know. I'm sorry. Which is a Slim Panatella, which is a legendary cigar. They still make those in very, very small quantities. 32 ring gauge by 6 inches. The brand new Glorias, which we've talked about, we haven't smoked yet, which is a La Casa del Habano release, comes in one of those really ornate boxes. Really, really nice box of 20 cigars. Very expensive.
This is better than that cigar, by the way.
Really?
So far.
You've
Yeah.
had that cigar?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
this
that's an LCDH release. It's like $1,200 for a box.
Oh,
Yeah.
forget it.
It's like $60 a stick.
yeah. And I mean, the retrohale on this thing,
It's
is
delicious.
outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really good.
They make a lot of regionals too as well.
They
right?
do.
Yeah, they use this. They use these brands to put out a lot of regionals. Just for various
Yeah.
distributors around the world.
They-
But the reason why 2 cigars have come out under La Gloria Cubana recently is I think we talked about it a few episodes ago, maybe 10 episodes ago. But Habanos committed to revitalizing some of the brands that have been ignored, or a lot of their stuff discontinued over the last 15 years. So I mean, prior to these 2 cigars, La Gloria Cubana was making 1 cigar
That's
in
crazy.
very, very low quantity, and then, like you're saying, only being used to put out regional editions.
They had that España regional like a few years ago, and I remember I got 2 boxes of the Spain, and then I got 2 boxes of another regional from Hoya de
Love.
Monterrey.
Wasn't it La Flor de Cana?
You're right. It was
Yeah,
La
yeah.
Flor de Cana, and they tasted exactly the same. It was
Yeah,
the same
we were
cigar.
talking about this. I remember that.
Yeah.
And
I
our
think we
last
got
launch-
those from Monty.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I did get them from Monty. Actually,
Monte Fortuna.
maybe
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
I'm
They
praying.
had a special.
I'm praying that this doesn't come to a letdown, because this is off to a very good start. Like if it turns into something strange,
Yep.
because through the nose, for me, it tastes very Cuban.
Yeah.
It's very flavorful. It's got that kind of full, kind of really nice balanced flavor. And when you put it through your nose, it's so satisfying. Like, and to me, that's just fantastic.
It is.
So if it, I hope it doesn't turn into some sort of weird shit. Sorry, down the stretch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How easy is it to find these? Because I'm gonna.
So that's why I wanted to do them, even though they're so young. This is a cigar that any listener can go out right now and find on the internet for $200 for a box of 10.
Dude.
Shipped.
They might not be able to after between
No.
podcast and release.
Yeah, don't release this yet.
Give us some time to.
So let's talk a little bit about La Gloria Cubana's history. Despite unfortunately only having 3 cigars in regular production, one that's been around since 1960, the MDO number 4 we just talked about, they've had some brilliant cigars that have gone the way of the dodo in the mid 2010s, namely the MDO 1 through 3. Of course, we love the MDO 2,
Sure.
which is a really special cigar.
Yep.
Coveted among, Habanos lovers. I would think that's up there with some of the greatest of all time.
Extremely difficult to find.
And terribly unfortunate that they got canceled when they did. I think that was in 2014. So La Gloria Cubana was established in 1885. So this is a brand that's had 150 years of history. I mean, pretty incredible. What I found interesting, and not to go into a ton about LGC, but the biggest thing that I found interesting about them is their ties to Partagás. So, like I said, they were founded in 1885. And in 1954, the brand was purchased alongside Bolivar, which is another brand that we love very much.
Yeah.
They were purchased together by the Cifuentes family, which is the Partagás, the heads of the Partagás brand. So if you think about Partagás as a mother factory, premier global brand, Bolivar being that secondary brand under Partagás, this is one of the tertiary brands, maybe alongside Ramon Iones. Yep. So what's interesting is we've talked about Partagás so many times. A lot of the Lusitanias, a lot of the 898s, a lot of the D4s do not come out of the Partagás factory. And we're smoking a brand new $20 cigar
out of the
from
Partagás
a tertiary brand that has come exclusively out of the Partagás factory, which is very cool.
It's also unusual.
It is,
yeah.
But I just love the story alongside Partagás, namely for this reason. If you look at, and this is where Min Ron Nee's book from 2003, the Encyclopedia of Post-Revolution Havana Cigars, comes in great use when looking at a brand that's this old, because I didn't realize how aligned those discontinued cigars that we love and are with Partagás, in that their packaging is nearly identical. The varnished boxes of 898. So you think about MDO2, MDO4, MDO1s, all come in those same varnished boxes of 898, like Partagás 898. A lot of the brand is aligned with that mother brand of,
the Cifuentes, yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Goes back that far, yeah.
So as of 2002, when this book was put out, I mean, this brand accounted for 0.2% of the export of Habanos SA. Certainly, I think now is even less than that. So it's nice to see them coming back. But classic floral, sweet, fruity flavors is the hallmark of LGC, La Gloria Cubana, as we've experienced with MDO2 and 4. So, as Puba said, hopefully this cigar will live up to that. But it is nice to see a brand that we love coming back to life.
With another,
and this is a modern take, something that has some mass market appeal. And if you look at, you cannot deny, and I'm looking at everybody's cigar right now, you cannot deny the construction, combustion, and the burn on what's happening. I'm looking at everybody. I think everybody's cigars are performing really well.
We're all with you.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, not knowing any of that, obviously, I love Partagás. It gives this. I am already viewing the brand in a different way, in that I've never had a bad LGC or a plugged LGC, but now it's kind of reinforcing why maybe the quality is what it is, and the fact that this is young and something that they've just put out that's new, and we're already having such a fantastic experience. And as
Yeah.
Puba said, the
Yeah.
construction, I mean, honestly, the construction's flawless on this
It
cigar.
really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
That really goes a long way. I mean, I'm not going to forget that when I'm considering the brand or purchasing anything they make.
Yeah.
The other thing I will say, though, that I like that's different. So you mentioned the traditional flavor profile of LGC being very floral, very fruity, which is exactly what you get on like an MDO2 or MDO4 that we've smoked a number of. This to me is not that floral or fruity. And I like that because it's showing me that this brand maybe has some range. I don't love when a brand just has like every stick smokes almost exactly the same. Like I love about Partagás that the way a Lucy smokes is dramatically different from the way a D4 smokes or an 898 or some of the other sticks they make. We've talked about different Upmans, like the way the Kanye is going to smoke is going to be totally different than an Upman 2 or anything. Like
Mhm.
I like there to be range in the line
And variety.
so, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is really intriguing to me because it's not just what I know the kind of MDO line to be. It's different, and I like that.
Well, the
Yeah.
MDO number 2 and the MDO number 4 do vary a bit,
a
in
little
my
bit.
opinion. I
Yeah.
think MDO number 2 is a little bit more of a medium-bodied smoke, less floral and fruity. But
Coffee
MDO number
and
4
cocoa
is a
in
little
that
bit
one.
more floral and floral
Agreed.
notes on the MDO number 4.
Right.
But the another point, like, on this cigar being how fresh it is, and we have talked about this, lately, how the factories that are putting out new cigars, fresh cigars, and we're smoking at 2022,
Yeah.
November 22, and
November
how,
22.
how well it's smoking. I mean,
Like I said earlier, to me on the front, it is when I take that initial draw, it's smoking like an aged cigar. I
Yeah.
get that on the front, and on a finish, I'm capturing some salty notes. But for me, the complexity of the cigar, savory and sweet, all in the same delivery. As you're finishing, a little bit of saltiness. It's a very complex cigar.
I completely agree with that. And to me, the signature thing about this that kind of makes it smoke like an aged cigar is the creaminess that you get in this stick.
Yeah.
There is no young cigar I've honestly ever smoked that is creamy. That builds up with time and age, and the flavors kind of marry together, and you get that.
Absolutely right.
So for this to be this young, this is honestly the first young smoke I've ever had that I would
maybe an
describe as
E2,
very creamy.
Maybe a Partagás E2.
That's
has a
true.
lot of-
That's true.
This is true.
But
Right,
even
Partagás
this
is-
is creamier than an E2.
But Senator said one little thing. So what he said about the cream, when you get like a dairy product that's just on the verge of spoiling a little bit, and I happen to like that little barnyard, it's not exactly what it should be, but it's got that barnyard-esque type of a thing. That's what I'm getting in the cigar.
Sure.
And that's what makes it, that gives me that aged
You like
quality.
blue?
of it.
You like blue cheese?
I love blue cheese.
I
Yeah.
think
Well,
it
I'm-
has
I'm-
something like that. There's something
it's
there.
hard to put
How
your
do you
thumb on.
know when blue cheese goes bad?
I don't know. When it's really blue?
you don't.
It just gets better.
Pooh, I
That's why-
interrupted you. Go ahead.
No. I just find one notable thing on just observing this. I agree with all the commentary. I'm just which is somewhat unusual, not totally unusual, but I have like a bright white ash, like it's a Dominican.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? I mean, look at my ash. Well,
Yeah,
yours
mine is more
honestly,
yours is
traditional.
more
yours
traditional,
whiter.
but mine is like a
Puba's-
bright white
It is.
ash.
It is.
Look at how bright that is. It looks like a Davidoff.
That plant got a little extra calcium in its diet.
Am I wrong?
No, but that's usually where it comes from. Calcium.
I'm looking at this thing and it looks like a Dominican cigar with this
Yeah.
bright white ash stacked up. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
stacked up an inch and a half here.
I wonder, as we're talking about the age of these and how they're smoking young, right? We're talking, these are 6 months old, right?
It's ridiculous. how
I've
good
had
they
them
are.
in my humidor for about 3-4 weeks. So it's not like they've had a ton of time to acclimate or, even out. And I know that we're only in the first third, but I wonder if, as Habanos is designing, Tabacuba is designing a new blend for a cigar that's going to come out and be a regular production smoke, I wonder if they're just blending using, parts of the tobacco leaf that are just less sensitive to time. Is there less Ligero in this? Is there,
There's way less Ligero.
you know,
This
I'm-
is not a Ligeros heavy cigar.
but I'm
at all.
saying that,
Yes.
compared to classic cigars that are requiring maybe some Ligero to give you that flavor or oomph in the blend, that maybe push them into the zone that they need 18 months, 2 years to mature, These don't need it because the
It's-
blend is intentionally
it's
ready to smoke.
Absolutely. The primings in this
Interesting.
probably, are not the same primings that the similar primings off the tobacco plant that are in a P2 or in an 898 for that matter.
Yeah.
They're just a little bit more Lajero heavy in the blend. But that's a merit here.
Yeah.
It's I'm very happy with
I
this.
think that's a merit in like what's this is delivering at this point in time.
And I think any Habanos enthusiast who doesn't put this, who doesn't light this and go, wow, this is really a really great smoke, at least so far.
Yeah, they've got
I mean,
problems.
that's,
Yeah.
this is a winner so
yeah,
far.
I
for
want to
20
make
bucks.
a definitive statement while we're still in the first third. The first third of this cigar is outstanding.
It's
It
outstanding.
really is.
This is excellent.
It is.
It is. It's outstanding. And I think to a point that Senator makes a lot, like it's been straightforward, and I'm actually okay with the straightforward kind of one act thing that's going on right now. And if it actually continues like this, for me, maybe with a little bit of a ramp up, and if that towards the last half of it, if it doesn't ramp up in an aggressive, weird way and get wonky,
Yeah. I hope we get that.
I got to tell you, this could be something that's
Could be a
winner.
That could be a real winner this
Yeah.
young.
Is there anything about the name Turquinos or?
Yes. So Pico Turquino is the highest point in Cuba, elevation wise. It's named after the highest point.
In Vuelta Abajo in that region, or
I don't know where it is in Cuba, but it's the highest point in Cuba. I'll look right now.
So as you're looking, so I've ashed my cigar. You three guys have incredible ash on those sticks. The structure is holding beautifully.
did the ash fall right out? Or
No, I just ashed it.
So did I.
Yeah.
It's in the Sierra. The Pico Turquino is in the Sierra Maestra mountain range in the municipality of Guama, Santiago de Cuba province. So it's in the very
Santiago is south, isn't it?
southeast of Cuba.
South. Yeah.
I'm just enjoying this tremendously, but I think I'm smoking a little faster than you guys.
I am too.
I quit the retrohale, and I'm just trying to get as much smoke out of it as I can, because the billow of like aroma is so pleasant.
It's awesome.
Does this remind you a little bit about from like the España, like the regional that we had?
I smoked it. How many years ago was that? 3 or 4?
Maybe 3-4 years ago.
I remember loving
like,
that cigar.
Any resemblance?
I can't recall.
So I do remember that stick, both of them, the Florticano and the LGC. It was very creamy.
Yeah.
So that is the one thing that it had in common with this stick.
Right.
The flavor profile was a bit different. I don't think it was as sweet as this cigar, but it was creamy.
Right.
This cigar to me is so mild in such a good way. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
No, you're
It's very
spot on.
pleasant.
But is it so mild in a good way?
Dude,
like
you're-
it's
you're not
mild
wrong at
in
all.
like a really good way. There's like a long finish on it. I mean, and I look at what's going on with this cigar.
So Puba's ash for the listener is about 1.5 inches of nearly pure white.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Senator and Rooster and Puba have beautiful long ash on their sticks
Yeah.
right now. It's fantastic.
I mean,
But
you know,
Puba's is like a work of art.
Yeah, it is.
Like a professional photographer.
I don't want him to wear it on his
It's
shirt.
going to be
Yeah.
Jackson Pollock all over his shirt in about a minute.
Yeah, I
but-
know.
I think there's a lot of skill set in actually blending a mild cigar that still retains a lot of those great flavors. Like when you have a mild cigar, you guys know I like mild cigars, right? When you have a mild cigar and it just kind of tastes flat.
Yep.
That's what gives that this kind of cigar a bad name. But this is so like there's so much nuance that I'm searching for flavors. It's kind of got this beautiful kind of like cappuccino, flavor profile. I don't get the coffee, but there's that creaminess that is imbued throughout the entire stick so
Yeah.
far.
I kind of
And-
get. Sorry, go ahead.
And I was just, this is something I just looked at the website that you procure these from. They're already sold out.
Oops.
But I think
Oh, boy.
grinder. I think this is a grinder powerhouse.
yeah, this is like
There's really something important about what you're saying, though, is that I think for how mild and easy to smoke this cigar is, I think someone who prefers a stronger cigar, of course I'm thinking about Pagoda, who's not here.
Mhm.
I think he'd be sitting here going, you know what? I really enjoy this.
Yeah, it's
Like,
got,
I think it serves everyone in a really, really nice way.
it's
Well, you
got,
can slot it.
yeah, yeah.
There's a place to slot it.
I can definitely at $20 see this slotting if it maintains or even dips a little as it
Are you
gets
kidding
further
me?
into the cigar.
I like
Absolutely.
the size of the cigar.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
50 is
It
fine.
Feels good in your hand.
I'm gonna go back to the savory sweet thing because that's what I'm getting. I'm getting the best of both worlds in this, and that's for me a complex cigar. When anything that you eat or drink can have both of those things in one experience, that's there's complexity there, and it takes skill and art to make something like that. And Grinder, what he said earlier, the milder the cigar, you can't hide. So when you're blending this, you can't hide behind Ligero. You can't hide behind other blends. You've got to really know what you're fucking doing with this thing.
It's
And
very intentional.
It's very intentional
I
and difficult to pull off.
So I at the beginning of the cigar, I mentioned I'm not getting into the Cuban twang, but I'm getting some
There's
of it on.
definitely- there's
I'm getting
definitely
some of it
something
on
there.
the finish.
Well, that's a classic, even Min Rani points that out in his in the famous book. And I certainly experienced this with the MDO number 2, is with age, classic flavor profile of LGC is with a little age, they do develop like that twang we talk about, that saltiness. But I'm tasting it here young. It's not as forward as, let's say, a Monty 2 is, but there's definitely a touch of that.
Wait,
In front of your tongue.
Are you also getting the nuttiness now? I was talking
Absolutely.
Yeah.
about?
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
I
Absolutely.
really get almond. in the
Almond,
cigar.
yeah, no,
Almonds.
almond for sure.
And the aftertaste in your mouth after you
finish.
push the draw out,
Yeah.
even after it's all gone,
Mm.
it's a very pleasurable flavor in
Yeah.
the mouth for a cigar that's only 6 months old.
This is ridiculous.
For the age of this cigar, because you're not getting that. What you're, let's turn it a little bit. What you're not getting is what you'd get out of an aged smoke is like the deep earth. Like you're not kind of getting that deep kind of like that. There's like, it lacks like a little bit of depth.
And there's a lack of mustiness that comes with a bit of an aged
Yeah,
cigar.
This is
it's
true,
just lacking a little bit of depth. But I think the way this is previewing, though, I think it's got that in its DNA. It just needs more time.
Yeah.
It just, but boy, I mean, as a preview,
Dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm going to disagree. Forget a preview. I love how this is smoking
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, yeah.
No,
I don't
so
want
do
it
I.
to change.
No,
I don't want it to end.
No, so do I. No. I think we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I think that actually with a little bit of time, it's going to get even better.
To
is
me,
my
this
point.
is a cigar at
this
this
is
price.
this is previewing so well that I think with time you're going to actually get a little bit more like that deep,
Big
that
time.
extra
I hear you.
deep.
Big time.
There's earthiness
Tobacco-ness,
right now
like-
in it. There's a
Yeah.
little bit of earth.
There is a little bit, but
earthiness,
it's
but
going to
that
get
will
deeper over
develop.
time. It's
Yeah.
going to develop over time. The way this is previewing for me,
Mm.
compared to, let's say, some of the limitadas that we've had that previewed great, like the Ramon Iones Torpedo number 2, like the
Mhm.
Ramon Iones number 2 in the green box, where it previews great, but then the last third
It
sucks on
wasn't
that
great.
cigar.
It wasn't great.
No, but like in time, maybe that'll get better. This
That cigar we gave
Yeah, I
it a
don't
10.
think Bam remembers what we're talking
Maybe
about.
I don't.
We just did that on the pod.
Yeah, it got a 10.
We
Oh,
got
did it?
The
So
racing
Pooba-
green
so Pooba,
box.
so that
Yeah,
that
it has
box.
really
So
developed.
you smoked through your. I asked if you had any. You said you smoked through yours. I kept a bunch that I didn't touch, and I brought them, and we smoked them on the pod.
Oh,
It
and
got,
they came to life.
It got a perfect 10 from every lizard.
I think that's true.
It was
Oh,
a
It
20
was
Yeah.
spectacular.
Because
This
it
is
wasn't
true.
quite a 10 when they first
No,
came
it
out.
wasn't. That's why. So, like we talked about in the episode, I gave Giz one for maybe
Okay,
his
so my
birthday
point's
or something.
validated.
Yes.
Then, yes, but now it's tremendous.
Right.
Wow.
So validating my point, so I kind of smoked through those, and
But that sucked when it started. This is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, it didn't totally suck when it started. It sucked up. It was good up until about now. And then that last half wasn't that great.
I still didn't love the first third of that
Right.
cigar. I really
So-
didn't.
I
So
kind of
this
agree.
cigar-
I kind of agree with Senator on that.
So this
Yeah.
cigar to me at this price point is a cigar that to buy a box of 10, which is the only way they come, is this little dress box of 10 for $200. You order 2, you smoke through 1, and you throw 1 in the humidor, and you see what happens in 18 months, 2 years.
Mhm.
Try one. Do another 6 months. It's one of those that you set up, as we call it, an aging program for a very little investment. I mean, look at what the cost is of even other Robustos, other cigars this size.
This is
This
50
is
by
what
140.
Right. Okay, right. The Connie is 52 by 140.
Yeah.
So I
All
have
right,
to
boys. So let's talk about our pairing tonight.
Yeah, I gotta say the pairing, the minerality of the spirit that we're drinking beautifully complements this cigar, I think.
And one huge thing with this tequila, it is very creamy
Dude.
for a tequila.
Oh, God,
which
that's
is
so
why
good.
I love it with this cigar with how much cream you
And
get.
That's
the
the
beauty
first.
of it-
That's the first sip I took
It's
with the
awesome.
cigar. Phenomenal.
Dude, it's awesome.
The nose. Oh
and
my God.
not a single chip of ice.
This
Beautifully neat.
This tequila, this Tequila Ocho, I love this tequila. It's a go-to tequila for me. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's there's no additives in this. This is not one of these tequilas that use a blast diffuser. This is made in the traditional fashion in terms of extracting the agave from ripe agave, and it makes a really big difference. So, and at the price point, this is not a celebrity tequila. This is real tequila, and it's absolutely recommend to any of the listeners to
this
look
is
at this.
This is a Chef Ricky Camacho endorsed tequila,
Yes,
which
sir.
for us lizards,
Yes, sir.
is a very important fact because he is very discerning in, as Puba just mentioned, additives, process, authenticity to natural fermentation and creation of tequilas, and it's fantastic.
So how much was that bottle?
$65.
Dude, that is a bargain.
It's
Yeah.
outstanding.
It
So,
really is.
So Ricky did a tequila tasting one night for a bunch of folks in my town, and he maybe had 5 or 6 different tequilas, and this was one of them. This was by far my favorite that night. And Ricky told this great story. The brand history actually of Tequila Ocho is really cool in the sense that I'll just talk very briefly about it. Ricky, if he were here, could spend hours talking about this, but. The guy who's the co-founder of it and the master distiller is a guy named Carlos Camarena, who Ricky described as if he's ever had a man crush on someone, it's this guy. And I can kind of see, I mean, this is an amazing spirit, so I can kind of get it, but it's so fascinating when you hear about his family. So his grandfather was credited with bringing the blue agave to the highlands of Jalisco, which is like the foundation of every great tequila now made. So his grandfather is like this absolute legend in the tequila world. His grandson then wanted to kind of take the mantle, and the way Ricky described it as he has a more innovative, modern approach to to tequila making than his grandfather, who's kind of more of the traditional, the way that Ricky's described with kind of the donkeys and the everything kind of by hand. This is a little more modern, the operation.
No hanging chickens in the bar and letting it ferment with the meat because that happens.
But the result of the product,
It was a rabbit, actually.
Rabbit. Okay.
It's a good luck.
but the results of the product, I mean, man, this was such a memorable tequila for me that night. I'm so glad we're doing this.
It's exactly what I want in my tequila. It's
Yeah.
just rabbit essence.
Rabbit aroma.
Exactly.
We were very lucky. So just to piggyback on that, I have to shout them out. Coincidental, it wasn't on purpose that we did this tonight, but last week, a few of us at the lounge here were very fortunate. We went to Ricky's restaurant in New York City.
Yep.
Right around Cinco de Mayo, and it was an Añejo Tribeca, which is his restaurant, and Tequila Ocho special pairing dinner. And actually, I think it was the son of one of the partners of Tequila Ocho, Jesse Estes, who's the global brand ambassador, came, and we paired 6 or 7 tequilas with various foods that Ricky and his team prepared, and it was a brilliant night.
That kid was a master.
Yeah,
the way
incredible.
he presented the tequila, fantastic.
Yeah, it was really informative.
Oh,
We
yeah.
learned a lot, and the tequilas were excellent. And certainly this one was my favorite.
Did you guys have the Repo?
Yes, we had everything.
Yes.
It's really good.
The
Yeah.
Repo's great. The Blanco's great.
And the
Yeah.
Blanco's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
I think, I love tequila, and I think there's a really great spot for all of them. For Blancos, I mean, like for a brand like Tequila Ocho, like the Blanco is not a shit tequila. You know, when people think about Blanco or they think about Repo and Añejo, they're like, well, only the Añejo is what you should drink or whatever. That's not true.
Yeah, they were saying the opposite at the dinner.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they really have, they actually, all of them have merits when they're made well. They're just different. And this particular brand, the Blanco, the Repo, the Añejo, I would recommend them all. Try them. They're really, really good. Before a dinner, try a Blanco like you'd have in a spot like a martini on the rocks. Do you know what I mean? It's light. It's a little bit, fruitier.
They make, and by the way, so
It's
they make
not as-
some. They make some that are Blanco Plata,
That's right.
which is made from agave from one single field. So instead of bringing in various agave from the various fields, they make the Blanco. It's just one field of agave, and the flavor is so interesting compared to their other Blancos. I think we had 2 or 3 Blancos that night.
And
like you're saying, it's the perfect starter for an evening before dinner.
Yeah, Blancos have like a lot of merit if it's from a good distiller.
Yeah.
They really do. It's not just for a margarita.
Mm-hmm.
And like he said too, Jesse, the global brand ambassador, he said, and Ricky has said this too, that the Blanco of any good artisan tequila is really, it's in its purest form. That shows you how well or how good that tequila is, because anybody could put it in a barrel and age it for a few years. But the Blanco is really where you see
it's like what we were
the job that they're doing.
Just like
It's
we
a
were talking
great
about
insight.
it. Yeah,
It's
like
a
a
great
moment
insight.
ago.
Yeah.
A lighter, complex element, whatever you're making, it's very hard to do that in a very good way without hiding behind something.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so true.
Speaking of Chef Ricky, one of the things that he taught me, because when I first got this drink, I didn't put ice in it per your guys' suggestion, and I took a big whiff in the smell of the glass, and it was very overwhelming. There's a lot of aroma when you put your nose in there, which is great. It's a great sign.
Yeah.
One of the things he taught us long ago when the first time he came onto our pod was that some tequilas, to get the creamy smoothness, you have to kind of you can't just take a little nibble sip. You have to actually kind of get a good swath of that in your mouth. And that, when I did that here, I had like a little sip and it was a little jarring. And then I had a bigger gulp and it was so mellow and so smooth and sweet and creamy. And I think it pairs very well
It pairs
with the
perfectly
cigar.
with the cigar.
And I mean, just the pleasant experience. Right now, I'm in this kind of like zone of trying to get as much of that smoke enveloping my general vicinity, because I'm just taking it in on the nose.
And I think that what we're experiencing with this tequila, for me, versus some of the others, is that creaminess. The way that the finish happens is very unique to this tequila. Like, it's almost like there's a delay, a very pleasant delay for me when I swallow the tequila. The way it hits my palate a half a second or a second later is really, really rewarding. It's delicious. Fantastic.
But it takes
tequila.
a second.
It does. It
just
takes a second.
let it
I mean,
happen.
honestly, for me, this of any tequila that we've had has one of the creamiest, smoothest finishes. And as a result, I mean, you can drink a lot of this stuff.
It's
Like, I'm not
dangerous.
exact. I mean, when Ricky had that tasting in
Sure can.
town,
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of this that I consume, it's just so drinkable and it's so enjoyable. And I
Brother?
felt wonderful the next morning.
Brother, I could take this entire bottle with this particular cigar and sit in my backyard and just disappear from the world.
Well, right.
It's no. I mean, the pairing tonight is fucking spectacular.
It's perfect.
Yeah,
It's
it's perfect.
spectacular.
Oh, it totally is.
What?
And that's the thing about tequila in general. Good tequila, it's a clean spirit. So if you don't want to, there's that. To build on what you're saying, Senator, and Bam, like there's this stigma with tequila that like it's going to give you this bad hangover. It's a very clean spirit that actually is not going to give you a hangover. It's actually one of the better spirits to consume, if you're going to consume in volume,
Yeah.
consume a good tequila because
Love it.
you're going to feel a hell of a lot better the next day. Am I wrong?
To that point, I
No,
think
totally
it's
right.
important
Not at
to
all.
say it's a good tequila made the right way.
Artisan.
Because there's a lot of trashy tequilas out there that will give you that hangover after 2 glasses.
Yep.
Now, I mean, this is I think escapism aside, it is easy
What
to
do you mean? Escapism is
well, that's what we're
intrinsic
doing here. I was going to say
to everything we do.
we're big fans of calibration, whether on the tequila or calibrating separately with a vessel at a soccer game. I think I get this impression of smoking this cigar, in that kind of solitude that you were referring to,
Yeah.
and because you can just kind of get lost in the aroma,
Yeah.
and then that nice cherry on top is this tequila, and it really kind of blends everything together.
And I think too, I think something that we need to point out as it relates to the cigar with the tequila is we're talking about a cigar that's mild medium. It's not really pushing beyond that, and to pair as well as it does with an añejo is rare.
Very.
I think there's a lot of cigars where you bring in an añejo tequila, artisan or not, it may be talking a little bit more than the cigar is, especially a mild or medium cigar. This is really, really pairing nicely.
That's the thing. It's not all añejos are the same.
Exactly.
Right. So like the ones for this, that's why we talked about this before. Like having had this, I knew regardless of the exact flavor notes, the LGC profile is not like an overpowering one and is going to need something that's going to dance alongside but not take center stage. Another tequila that's very similar in añejo is El Tesoro.
Tesoro.
It doesn't
Oh,
overpower.
Yes.
Like-
Absolutely.
You're both absolutely right. Yeah.
100% correct,
yeah,
El
yeah.
Tesoro.
Yeah, El Tesoro.
Tesoro.
100%. 100%.
The best.
Yeah.
El Senador with the El Tesoro.
You're right. You're 100%
Yeah,
right.
both would go great with this cigar, and that's the thing. Where some other, like one of the pods we did, we had Don Fulano Añejo,
Yeah.
and that drinks more like a whiskey. That's
Yep.
a really rich, deep Añejo. It's not this kind of light, clean agave forward one.
I would
It's
say the
like
same
this.
too. The Tapatio, Excelencia.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Neither
that's
would
too.
pair well with the cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the El Tesoro though is in more like you can't find that as easily.
Actually, I bought it today.
Yeah,
you
around
find
here.
so did I.
Yeah, around
Yeah.
here you
Yeah.
can.
We're actually right next door.
It sells out like in Florida. It sells out quicker. It sells out quicker than
It's
the Ocho.
delicious. It's delicious.
It is. Well, you guys see the pictures I send of the El Tesoro. It's El Tesoro and Ocho. I'm sending the
True.
pictures.
That's true.
But it is, Senator, you're right. I mean, El Tesoro, if you like El Tesoro, or try both because they're both fantastic.
I think Tesoro is a little pricier than this, right?
It is.
About
Little
20
bit.
bucks more.
Yeah, that's like 90
Yeah.
a bottle roughly. This is
Mhm.
65.
That's
All
right.
All right, boys. So
Fantastic.
we're a little bit over halfway here on the Gloria Cubana Turquinos.
Mm.
What do you guys think?
I'm having a hard time slowing down on this thing.
Yeah,
You know,
You're
when
blowing through it.
I am, because I love it. It's just delicious. It hasn't.
Hasn't changed.
Yeah, what Puba said earlier, it hasn't changed. But it's really continuing to be complex and rich and delicious on a very smooth
Yeah.
delivery for me.
So the flavor profile hasn't changed for me. I completely agree. But what I do like, the first third, I think many have said, and I would agree, was mild. Halfway through, I think it's now built to medium. It's
Maybe a
building
bit.
a bit.
Yeah.
It's building a bit.
In a very good way, though. It's
Oh,
not. It's not like
sure.
some of the young cigars. The way that they build in that second half, it's not doing that. yet.
No. It's not like revealing something bad. It's been for me really, really good. It's been a totally one-act play. Am I wrong?
No.
It's
I'm getting. I might be a little further than you. Actually, maybe not.
Yeah,
No.
we're the three of us are kind of at the
Yeah.
same.
I'm kind of a one-act play, but I like it.
Yeah.
It's not. It's one-dimensional. But a little bit more complexity, a little bit more different, a little bit more. I'm not saying it's. I was hoping for a little bit, maybe more down the stretch, but maybe that's too high of an expectation
Yeah, for a 6-month-old
for
cigar.
a
that's-
6-month-old
yeah.
cigar. But conversely, you're not getting anything offensive down the stretch
Yeah.
for a young
No,
cigar, which is
not
a
at
real,
all.
which is
not
a
at
virtue.
all. Nothing at all
You know,
like
which is a
that.
big virtue.
Yeah,
But
this
honestly,
is
the
delicious.
richness for me is there. Was right there from the beginning. I'm still getting that savory sweet, and for me, that's complex. That's that for me.
I think it's very subtly increased in flavor. Very subtly. I don't think. I wouldn't call it a. You might call it a one act play in that regard because the change is the transition is so slight. But I am sensing a little more punch.
But it's built up in strength, but I don't think those notes are more
You haven't
or
lost
less
them.
less
Yeah.
prominent.
Yeah.
I mean, they're there,
Very accurate.
but not.
I think that's
overly
100%
prominent.
Rooster.
I
So-
think that's the right.
fair.
So,
Yeah, 'cause-
Rooster,
Because for the listener, when we're saying a one act play, we're talking about the flavor notes are consistent all the way through. They
Yes.
don't change. Where like early on, you're getting floral and fruity, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden in the last third,
Right.
you're getting like coffee and cocoa
Chocolate.
and a totally different flavor profile.
Correct.
That would be a 2-act play.
Correct.
But so we're saying this is one act and that the flavor notes are consistent all the way through. But what a number of us are noting is that the strength of it has picked up a bit in the second half,
Sure.
where I think starts firmly mild and now is like veering
Yeah.
toward medium.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
pleasant. It's pleasant, and I'm not. Maybe you guys can help me with this. It's not at all muddled. It's defined, but but the complexity for me, like, it just isn't quite there.
Hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's not totally muddled in any way, shape, or form. Like, there are definitely defined notes there, but it's
Are you-
just,
Yeah, I don't
lacking
disagree.
It's lacking just like a few degrees of complexity that are.
yeah, I don't disagree.
That,
Well,
you
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
I completely agree. I mean, it is a relatively straightforward
Yes.
flavor profile.
Yes.
It's not an overly complex one.
Yes.
Yes.
Like we've called out a few notes, those
Mhm.
are present all the way through. We like them, but I do agree. Is it tremendously complex? Are there more than 5 notes? Are there even 5?
no,
Not
no.
really.
Yeah.
No,
so I
no.
agree.
No.
So here's my question,
It's
Rooster.
so pleasant.
Extremely.
Yeah.
So Rooster, you probably in the room have smoked more La Gloria Cubanas than anybody.
Then us combined.
All of us combined. And I'm not this is not I'm not
It's
going
true.
into like joke zone, but genuinely, where does this kind of fit in the DNA of LGC as far as your palate's knowledge of it? Does it align with that? And how do you to use Puba's word, previewing, do you see this kind of slotting alongside in the catalog the MDO stuff and some of the others you've smoked?
Well, to me, the MDO typically are more floral. This doesn't have quite that much floral note in it. It has a little bit of fruit, a little bit of earthiness, but also the LGCs that I have smoked have
Significant age.
heavily
Yeah.
aged. So 2008, 2012. So I would be curious to see, I mean, how this develops with, at least 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of age on it. It shows potential.
Yeah.
And having said that, I mean, this is going to be a regular production LGC cigar, which is promising. I mean, this is a 6-month-old cigar, and we already, are enjoying this.
We are.
So,
Yeah, I just got to say, I'm sorry. There should be more LGC cigars made.
Of
period.
course. Of course.
Like none of us have had a bad LGC.
Never. Not ever.
It's actually frustrating
totally
that
true.
there's so
Yeah.
few that
Same
they
with
make.
and the
He's right.
same
He's
with
right.
Robania.
Yeah.
Same with Robania.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great segue because if they're going to be expanding the marca and the different cigars in the marca, I'm kind of curious. This is from the Partagás factory, you said?
Yeah.
Is the MDO4 also from the Partagás factory?
I think a lot of those do come out of
I
Partagás.
think they do.
But you know what the thing is,
Not-
Grinder? They come out so infrequently. They come out in such small batches.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're not going to if they intend to expand the product or the products in the port that marca, you're going to have more volume, right? So then the question is there, and I just don't know the answer to this, is there a specific farm that Partagás is pulling from? Are they just distributing?
So the
across
factory
all the
managers
factories?
go to Pinar del Rio and they shop just like we go to the store and shop. They,
Yeah.
they go
It
to
all
this-
comes from the same place.
It all comes from the same place. It's
Yeah.
all the same strains
Remember,
of
every
tobacco.
factory buys from the same
same.
location.
All the brands.
No,
Yeah.
so
It's
are
the blending that makes the cigar different.
they-
That's right.
so are the blenders aligned to specific factories?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, blenders are aligned to specific marcas.
Brands.
Yeah.
Specific.
That's how
brands.
you
but
know
not
Partagas
but not
tastes
but
like a
not
Partagas.
Right.
factories.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
You know,
Factories just where they're rolled. That's all that's.
That's
saying.
And then the blender, the master blender, like we met a guy at Legito who was brilliant, and he blends all of Cohiba's cigars. So he's constantly, like anybody who does wine, anybody who blends Scotch, he's constantly tasting and adjusting the blends as the varietals of tobacco come in, and is consistently making sure that those blends are distributed out to wherever they're being rolled. Let's say a lot of D4s, let's say Partagás D4. That master blender is distributing that new blend if there's any change in the tobacco based on the crop or the weather, whatever happened, distributing that out to the provincial factory so that all D4s are as close together as possible.
That's fascinating. I think one of the things that I'd be keen to understand is, just watch when they go to the farmers market, and do the shopping, what kind of conversations they're having, what the game plan is, and how they go about, because now whoever's blending these cigars has a task of introducing potentially new flavor profiles, that could potentially rewrite the flavor profile for LGC, because there are flavor profiles that we link to specific cigars.
Yep.
So it's exciting because now, it's a new generation.
And you know what I like about this more than any of the regional stuff that we talked about? So the regional releases, let's just focus on La Gloria Cubana. When they release, let's say the España, whatever distributor or retailer is that specific to is involved in that blending process. So they're sent cigars, there's feedback, there's change, there's back and forth. This is wholly only in Tabacuba. So that blender made the cigar. It went through Tabacuba. There was no feedback loop from retailers and distributors around the world to make this cigar. So to see this be a success for a $20 Robusto is a huge win to me.
What's
really
the factory code on this box?
UBL,
which is
Partagás, as of March
so,
of last year.
Right. So the construction of this cigar, at least the one that I smoked,
I think all of
is
us.
All of us are the
Davidoff
same.
is Davidoff quality construction.
Totally agree.
We are right there with you,
Yeah.
Kuba.
Yeah.
It's
Right there.
Davidoff quality construction.
100%.
I'm looking at the burn. I haven't touched the cigar up one time. The combustion was outstanding.
The smoke output is
The
excellent.
all the construction, the build has been just absolutely flawless.
And for all of us,
Dude.
Yeah, to
you know,
Puba's
not a
point,
single one.
this is
was
one of the
bad.
best constructed cigars I've ever had, period.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the best constructed.
'Cause there's
Cubans.
nothing wrong with it.
There's
It's
nothing wrong with it.
flawless.
It's
Yeah.
flawless construction.
And
so
this-
whoever rolled this, you can talk about the blend.
I think that this was intentionally blended, to go back to what we said earlier, coming into the last third here. I think that this was very intentionally blended to be smoked
Smoke now.
the moment that you get that box.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, I think it was designed that way.
Isn't it ready? It feels
hun-
and tastes.
it
and
does.
I
performs
mean, it's
like it's
interesting to
ready.
hear you say that because, like, what would make sense, they kind of had to do that.
They
right?
have to.
If LGC makes so little at this point,
They
any
only have
consumer-
3 Vitolas
That's
for
the
crying
thing.
out loud.
And the only one that is still standard production is what, the MDO4.
Yeah.
MDO4
Right, so there is
and,
What are they going to
one-
put out? Something
There's
that's
one
yes.
line in standard production, the MDO4.
That's crazy.
If they're going to come out with this, they have to hit a home run.
It's
have to.
crazy.
This is many people's second LGC they'll have ever smoked in their life.
I would
So
argue
maybe
it's-
the
I would-
tobacco's more aged.
No,
Then
I
we
don't
know.
think so.
I don't
I
think
think
that.
I think that the MDO4 is a tough one to look at as a headliner for any marca because they put it out so infrequently.
You know what?
They come out, you know, there's batches of those that come out in very low quantity every 2 years, maybe. I mean, they just don't come out a lot, and it's a Panatella.
And look, MDO number 2, MDO number 3, MDO number 4, MDO number 1 do not have a lot of Ligero in them, but yet they age beautifully.
They do.
Yeah.
So you don't need to have a lot of Ligero in a cigar for it to age, I
Yeah.
think.
I
mean,
agree with that. It's just when there's a lot of Ligero, it
does need
requires
to
a
age.
lot.
Does.
of
It's sensitive to
Where
age.
when there's less Ligero, it requires less age.
That's right.
And to your point, in either circumstance, they can age extremely well.
Right.
Mm.
I just want to give the blender who blended this a high five. I think this is
Yeah.
excellent.
100%.
And the rollers.
And the
This
rollers.
is one of the best constructed Cubans we've ever
It's
had.
but one of the it's really the construction on it was great. It's straightforward. In time, who knows what it'll taste like, but boy.
There are Cohibas that don't burn this perfectly.
true.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is absurd
Yeah.
at this price what they were.
I was actually. It's funny you say that because I was actually on a Zoom call with Rob Iowa, because we always mention Rob and some other guys from FOH, and a couple of them had mentioned that they were smoking Sigla 2s that came out of Laguito, and performance wise, they couldn't get them to smoke.
Oh boy.
They had to put them down, and I think they were 3-4 years old, whatever.
Wow.
But think about spending $60-$70 on a cigar and to have it perform so terribly. And we're holding an LGC that's $20 that to me is standing up fresh to any Robusto in the Habanos catalog right now.
Yeah.
Fresh,
Yeah,
it's standing up to any.
And I bet in just a couple of short years that it's even better.
I don't think
Agreed.
we should release this pod.
It's true.
I see it slotting in. I see it slotting in the same place that you would slot a QD.
Oh yeah, good point.
You know, like that kind of. This is like for me, maybe a nice daytime cigar or a pre-dinner cigar.
I'm
If
gonna
you've got the time.
I'm gonna make a definitive statement that everybody in
Uh-oh.
this room is gonna be very upset with.
Oh,
This cigar wipes the floor with the QD50.
It-
Wipes
well,
the floor.
It's not competing with it.
No.
Well, it is in a slot. Where I would slot this is the same place I would put that.
The Coronas Claro is better.
Of course.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you could have this cigar. Let's say you're gonna have 3 sticks in one night. You could have this as your first one,
Right.
And then
Like
you
the
build it up.
QD50 for me always slots in the morning. I'd start with that.
Yeah.
I'd have this in the afternoon, and then like a Partagás in the evening.
But I'll say something about this cigar. Neither of
Penny
the
in the morning,
none of
penny
those-
in the afternoon,
No,
penny
hold
in
on.
the evening. Remember
Hold
those
on.
beers?
No. Hold on. For me,
Beers?
for me personally, the QDs don't coat my mouth the way this cigar does. There's a coating of flavor that I just want more and more of. With the QDs, I love the QD54, you know that, and the Coronas Claro, but I don't get that lingering. I'm getting a lingering twang on this that I don't get on any of those fucking
I
cigars.
agree with that. The
I
finish is thinner on those. I
Yeah,
agree.
It is.
yeah.
But the Coronas Claros is a better cigar.
Well, I'm not going to say that.
I think my point in comparing to the 50 was just the size. You know, this is a
Yeah.
50
Yeah, that's
vintage
true.
cigar.
That's
That's the
true.
only reason I was
50
making
is
that
tiny.
point.
It's a tiny
Yeah, it's a
little
short
smoke.
little thing.
I would love to tour the Partagás factory when we go back.
Yeah, that's the
Absolutely.
next
This
stop.
was a hell of
If
a.
there is a way.
This
Absolutely.
thing was really rolled well. Someone paid attention.
Mm.
Yeah. So I got to bring this up, boys, because we blasted them. I think it was in September or October with Dan from Cigar Salute. Did you guys see that Monty Fortuna put out a video of how to spot fake Cuban cigars?
Huh.
Fake news? You mean?
All right, take it easy, Gizmo. They're a client.
Yeah, hold on to your seatbelts, everybody.
I worked on that video. No, I'm just kidding.
I just want did they make the
They
video
needed
for
some
themselves?
crisis comms after you guys really let them have it.
So they put out this video on YouTube a few days ago. I was cracking up because it's like 8 months after, the whole fiasco. Last summer it was a shit show. But they're putting out this video of how to spot fakes and all the stuff we talked about on the podcast that Dan. It's like they listened and quoted like every point that Dan made about how to find fake Cubans and condensed it down into their own YouTube video. I just think they made it for themselves. How to spot a fake Cuban.
Yeah.
It's in the employee manual.
Yeah, check
Who
it
knows?
out.
It's a whole rabbit hole, right? We could go
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
That's a whole rabbit hole. It's funny.
It's all about learning.
Really well constructed smoke, though, guys. Huh?
Yeah,
And
and Puba took it all the way down too. I see.
Yeah, pretty cool delivery.
Yeah,
Puba was the first to finish.
dude. Yeah,
He blew through it.
very rare to see.
Do you think there's similarities between this and E2?
Some,
A little
Like
bit.
but not a
creamy-
ton, but
creaminess.
some. The creaminess for
Yeah.
sure.
E2's a big step above.
The E2's got more
Oomph.
body and
Yeah,
strength
there's
to it.
oomph to it. Yeah.
Way more complex
Mm.
than this. Way more. It's a step up.
So I got to say, for a Robusto Extra, a Gordito, this smoked very fast tonight. Maybe that's the youth, or we just blew through it. But
We blew through it.
I mean, we're only an hour in.
It's a
and-
merit.
yeah.
It's a merit.
It
It's
is.
it's like the nice kind of combustion you get out of a really good Upman 2. That's not so tightly packed, but you're getting this good construction, and it's smoked in a reason. We thought this was going to be an hour 20 or smoke. It's not.
Yeah.
You know, the combustion was so good.
Yeah, and no
It's- it's
touch-ups,
a-
like you said. Nobody
yeah,
reached for their lighter.
It's
No
a
one.
merit in the cigar. I don't think a tightly packed big range gauge cigar, when it's so tightly packed, is a good thing.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
This was really great.
Yeah.
It smoked just perfect for me. I think that
I'm so glad I have another box because I'm going to definitely be reaching for these
Do you?
at the start of the night, for sure.
I'd love to see it in 2 years.
Yeah,
I like
I
to
agree.
try it in about
I'd
2
love
Remember
to
years.
try it in 2 years.
don't forget the lizard sharing protocol.
That's
we
exactly
have.
right.
You know where to find them.
Yeah. Great cigar. I mean, this previewed as well as any young cigar that I've smoked in a long time.
And again, we have to say it again because we've trashed Habanos so much for the pricing strategy, but to see a cigar come out, a new release on a marca that we love, in a Vitola that works, for $20 for an hour 10
It's insane.
experience,
Yeah.
that is value to me.
Big time.
This is where I wish Habanos was moving their catalog.
Big time.
Is bringing phenomenal value in Vitola and flavor that we love to great brands.
The other thing that's really nice about this cigar, and we talk about this quite a bit, there is something to like in this cigar for every smoker, I think.
100%.
Totally
And there are
approachable.
few cigars we would say that about, right? There are certain cigars we would say if you're a novice smoker and you are used to smoking very mild cigars, this is probably a bit too much, right, for you at that point. To me, this cigar, if you've only had a few Cubans in your life and you're trying to get into more, there's no point in here where this gets so strong or
Weird.
or
Yeah.
kicks you around that you would say, I'm not sure this is for me. It works for that person. If you're a Cuban aficionado that smokes Cubans all the time, the flavor, despite being mild, is so refined and concentrated that all of us are sitting here incredibly satisfied. So I do love also, this is a cigar that is versatile in that I think it's really for everybody.
Yeah, and for $20, it's an extraordinary value.
And it's one of those boxes that, to me, if I'm with a group of friends, let's say who doesn't, not the lizards that smoke all the time and are very experienced, if I'm with a group of folks and say, hey, we know you love Cuban cigars, I want to give them something that I know is going to perform brilliantly and is not going to offend a novice smoker and will satisfy someone who smokes a lot, this is very high on that list right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder with a little bit of time if some of those up front on the cold draw, like some of those dessert flavors that we got out of it that weren't so pronounced down the end, like that honey, that
They'll start to appear.
that maybe they will with
Yeah.
a little bit of maturity, they'll start to
Mhm.
present themselves, and it could really make this thing a real knockout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it previewed really, really, really great.
Yeah.
Agree.
And with the tequila,
great.
what an
Yeah, the
incredible
tequila,
pairing. What a
Bam,
great pairing tonight.
Really
Yeah, the tequila was brilliant tonight, and again for an añejo to pair as well as it did with this, I'm
Oh,
so
yeah.
glad that we did
Perfect
it because
añejo
it was
for
perfect.
this.
Perfect.
because it has that salty. It paired up great because it has that minerality and that saltiness that kind of just it matches up really nice, particularly with a cigar that's this medium body.
Yeah. Yep. Very
Yep.
well said. Yep.
You guys,
really good.
you guys ready to do the formal liquor rating on the
Yeah.
Tequila
Oh,
Ocho
Oh, hell
Anejo?
yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Bam Bam, you're up.
I'm going between a 9 and a 10 on this because it's just so delicious. The minerality, the earth tones, that it's just I'm probably gonna go 10.
All right,
10 on this tequila.
Grinder.
I'm trying to recollect what I've given, the El Tesoro and some of the better tequilas we've had.
Better?
Best. Well, I mean,
Parallel.
better. Better than the rest.
Yeah.
I don't recall, but I am also deciding between a 9 and a 10.
Mhm.
This is definitely one of the best tequilas I've had, and it's one that I'll be searching for again. I don't know if it's a 10 because my range is not as well refined as you guys on the tequila front. On the tequila front, no, I only drink tequila with this pod. Really.
That's fine, but just for what it is for you.
For tonight.
Yeah, I know.
The
I'm-
experience tonight.
the experience tonight was a 9.
All right,
Okay, great.
Senator.
For me, this is easily a 10. And the reason I'm going to say that, there's arguably no more drinkable tequila. I mean, when Bam said that he could just take down an entire bottle of this in a
In the
sitting by
yard.
himself,
With this cigar in the fucking yard.
I mean, I honestly, I feel the same way. And the other thing that has to factor in for me, I think $65 for this bottle is
Value.
an outstanding value.
It's outstanding.
I mean, honestly, a lot of the other añejos that, like I mentioned El Tesoro because I think that they're very similar in that they are lighter bodied añejos in a very good way, not this like barrel heavy whiskey like añejo. And most of those are $90, $100. I mean, Don Fulano, El Tesoro, all of those are in that price range. The fact that this is $65, I think is tremendous. So for me, it's a 10.
And the creaminess that you're getting that you mentioned early on, it is there.
And creamier than any añejo, honestly, I've had. Like, I love El Tesoro just as much for a different reason. But for what this is, it's so unique and indistinguishable. It's perfect.
Yep.
So I left that dinner at Añejo with Chef Ricky with us, the guys that went, absolutely in love with the Añejo. That was my first time having it. This is my second. Having it tonight, it absolutely is very parallel with Tesoro. And that's where I was going. You touched on it. I'm not going to repeat it, but the value thing cannot be ignored. So absolutely, this is right alongside the Tesoro for me. It's a 10 for sure.
Now you're talking.
Puba.
Yeah. I've had a lot of this tequila. I'm a big, you guys know I'm a big Tequila Ocho
Yeah, it's
fan.
running through your tap in the bathroom. You just turn a spigot on, it comes out.
And guys, for the listener, try the entire line.
Yeah.
But the entire line is terrific. Try it and see what you like. And I love El Tesoro too. I'd give them both a 10. I think that they're both my favorite, and this is my go-to. It's a 10 for me.
Great.
As our friend Pagoda would say, it's a 10. It's a 10. It's a 10.
So the formal liquor rating on the Tequila Ocho Anejo is a 9.8.
Yeah.
A 98, boys.
An elite tequila.
Absolutely.
When you do all the calculus on it for the price, for what it is, how it's made,
it's a perfect score.
It's right there.
And if you live in the New York, New Jersey area, go to Anejo. You could probably try all of them.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. You could do them all. You could do a flight.
Yeah.
Very good stuff.
Good
all right, boys.
Good plug.
So it's time to do the formal lizard rating on the La Gloria Cubana Turquinos. Gordito. Rooster, you're up.
So I'm in between an 8 and a 9 on this. But the construction, the draw, I mean, everything was just perfect. So I'm leaning towards a 9.
Okay. Puba.
Yeah, I loved it. I really loved the cigar. It's not a 9 for me. It's an 8. And it's only an 8 for me just because it just lacks, it just, there's a little bit of complexity that I'm looking for, a little bit of an edge. I'd probably give it an 8.5 if I could, but I'm not. I'm going to give it an 8. It just, there's a little bit of complexity that I think it needs. Maybe that'll come with time, but a hell of a cigar on all the things, on all the things that we mentioned.
Yeah.
Really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
I'm right there with you. I am a 9, though, purely because of how I see it slotting in for me. This is an early entrant and a quick entrant into my rotation. I'm going to smoke a lot of these cigars. And again, I can't ignore celebrating the value in a $20 Robusto. Feels great in the hand. The construction is excellent. I'm so excited that I have another box of these sitting in my tower, and I'm going to order more. All day it's a 9. A $20 Robusto, I can't believe it. 6 months old from Habanos. It's
Awesome.
like, it's
That's
a slam
awesome.
dunk.
Awesome.
Senator.
So I agree with all the previous commentary. The pros are obvious. The construction's flawless. It's a refined smoke despite how young it is. I agree with Puba that on the cons, it's not the most complex smoke. It is pretty straightforward. But all things considered, I've got to round up to a 9.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it has the potential with age to be a 10 someday.
Maybe.
I agree. Grinder.
It's a 9 for me. The flavor profile is, I think it was Puba who mentioned it's in my power alley. I was considering a 10, but I don't know. There is a little bit more that I'm still looking for. And I would smoke it every day. Having said that, the thing that would struck me about this cigar is that I often, with the lighter, medium, the lighter cigars, I do a lot of retrohale.
Yeah.
And I get so much of that. That takes it over. That takes a mild cigar and really brings it to where I want it to be. This one, I didn't do that at all. I didn't have to do that at all. I was just I was embracing the aroma. I was trying to get as much of it as I can. So it's a 9 for me. I think we can, I think to Puba's point, to Senator's point, just a little more time. It's definitely has the potential to be a 10.
Yeah, I think this is definitely one we revisit in a couple of years.
Agreed.
Bam Bam.
Yeah, I'm at a 9 as well. For me, when I have the experience where I'm combining both savory and sweet, for me personally, that's a complex experience. When you can achieve that in a cigar, there's complexity. So I'm going with a 9. 9, 9, 9.
All right.
And for the price, it's incredible, the value.
So the formal Lizard rating on the LGC Turquinos is an 8.8, which is an excellent score for
Good
a
score.
6-month-old Habanos.
Yeah.
I celebrate this cigar, boys. I'm celebrating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a strong recommend.
Dude.
Celebrating.
And honestly, the conversation tonight was at such a high level. When a cigar triggers that type of discussion,
Yeah.
it's a provocative cigar. There's a lot to it.
Yeah. Can't wait to get more of these. And I like we're talking about with aging them just a little bit.
Yeah.
Trying these again in 2 to 3 years, I can't imagine where they're going to be. So absolutely for the listener at an 8.8, you got to go out and get a box of these. Box of 10.
Yeah, I think 88.
88's the number. Yeah. It's
is,
perfect.
Is a good
Quick
score.
question. Do these just come in a box of 10?
So they only come in 10 counts. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It's
What-
interesting.
What
Man.
did you pay for this?
$200 for 10.
You know what what the retail,
Unbelievable.
what the price is on the same website when I just checked? $278.
Wow.
Wow.
It's because of the pod.
Yeah. I don't know if I got them on sale or something, but you can get them about $20 a stick. All right, boys. So a 9.8 for the Tequila Ocho Anejo and an 8.8 for the La Gloria Cubana Turquinos, brand new Gordito. What an excellent night and an excellent pairing. I really enjoyed that. And awesome. We'll see you all next week.
Keep smoking.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for joining us. You can find our merch store and ratings archive at our brand new website, loungelizardspod.com. That's loungelizardspod.com. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, hello@loungelizardspod.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.